again, I think the hardest thing for any of us to do is to look in the mirror and not like that person.
Yeah.
That's a hard place to be. I've been there. It's a tough place. And the only way that you can stop feeling bad when you look at that person is to be proud of that person. The only way I found to be proud of a person is to see them for the work they've done. What
Mm.
not so much what they've achieved, but what they've done, like the effort they gave. And so like when people give hard effort towards something, they find themselves in a place going, man, I'm proud of me. I love me. Well done, me. That's and so for me, I look at it and go, I needed to find a way to get back to that guy doing hard stuff because I was taking the easy route. I was hanging out with the wrong people, drinking, partying, doing dumb stuff. And so when my mom passed away in 2015, sorry, 2014, it was a chance for me to wake up and go, I got to do some things differently. And it was more so me doing the hard work again. And the driver was me wanting to look at myself in the mirror and love me again.
And now you're that example to your family. How has that affected your kids and what they're achieving in your relationship now?
I don't think that they notice it yet. To be honest, I don't think they get it. They really don't. There's, it's like you don't know how sweet something is till you taste sour, and they haven't been there yet. So I have to create and concoct difficulty in their life because they have privilege. And I'm not, we're not filthy rich by any means, but the kids don't want for anything.
Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine Galloway, certified high performance coach with an exciting episode of the Resilient Mother podcast. Today, I have the privilege of having Anthony Trucks here on our podcast. I met him through Growth Day. He's a former NFL player turned transformation coach who's now doing a program called Speak to Freedom, where he shares his method for becoming a professionally paid speaker. Anthony, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to talk about identity with you because you have a book called Identity Shift that I've listened to, and I really love how it breaks down how you've had the success you've had in your life. You've overcome a lot of struggles. Can you share a little bit of your background for those that may not know all the things that you've gone through that have led to this method that you developed?
Yeah. It was a lot of things. I don't know if we can cover all of them. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
I grew up in a crazy situation. I think a lot of people have their own backgrounds that are interesting, unique, dynamic in some way. I was given away into foster care. So I had like a lot of who am I kind of conversations internally. Where do I fit? Who's Anthony supposed to be? All that great stuff. And it turned into me navigating the pitfalls and up downs of foster care. And so I eventually was adopted at 14 by a very poor, all white family. I had to kind of find myself within that whole place. And then in doing so, I was able to earn a college scholarship, played football at University of Oregon. I had my oldest son, while at Oregon in college as a sophomore, and found my biological father the same year, actually.
Wow.
My very first college start, I actually met him. So just a lot of weird dynamics of my life of ups and downs, and eventually got a chance to play in the NFL. NFL stands for not for long. So I got in, I got hurt. I had to come home and navigate, this whole world of I'm no longer the football player I knew myself to be. I'm married now. I have that one kid. I have twins that are now, they turned 16 this year. So all these crazy dynamics of just life spinning up, and then got divorced, remarried my wife after 3 years of divorce. We're now almost 9 years deep in a remarriage. And I learned a whole lot of life. And through all of it, I've had to navigate what I call identity shifts. Who I am today may not be who I wake up to be tomorrow. That's a good thing, actually. And when life pulls the rug on certain situations or things going on, how you respond to it, which we're all aware of, determines what the experience is. But it's not so much just how you respond, but I think more so who you become.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to another child who may be in the foster system? In your book, you talk about this moment where you decided you weren't really going to play the victim for being a foster kid, that you had this shift of understanding that you get to decide who you are and what you get to become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not just foster kids, everybody. So some situations we experience in life are not our faults. They're our responsibility to fix them, but it's not our fault. Like we didn't, I didn't subject myself to foster care. But I will say this. I have a painting on my wall that says something that's been very strong for my life. And it says, smooth seas never made skilled sailors. And so for foster kids, even non-foster kids, even non-kids, adults, right? There's these things in life that happen, and we don't like them. We call them trauma. We call them, different things. And I get that exists to an extent, but realistically, I think a lot of it's just life. And when life happens, it gives you an opportunity to figure out how to respond to it. And in fact, wires you differently. And I believe a lot of it wires you for something that you don't know you need to be wired for yet.
Yeah.
So years, after all this stuff happened to me in foster care, a lot of people call it trauma. And I go, yeah, I guess there's a way I could for sure shape it that way. But I just call it life. It's a difficult thing I had to experience. And it becomes traumatic if I choose to call it that, give it that label, and live from a place where I go, I was a survivor of X. And I don't know if I was a survivor of trauma. I was just a kid who just got through some stuff, man. I survived life. But in doing so, I removed this label that gave me a sense of less than for internally at least. And it gave me a sense of like, nah, you got something different that nobody else has. You
Yeah.
have the muscles built earlier than most people. So now as a grown man, I find myself in situations that other people also are in, and they're freaking out. And I'm like, oh, it's just Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
We're gonna be okay. We're gonna survive this. And then you just move past, and I'm not moving past diminishing that situation that anybody's in. I'm not moving past saying I'm special. I'm able to move past because I have a different perspective. I'm wired differently and have different strengths.
I think you're talking about depth of character, that really the lessons in life that they give us this opportunity to
Mhm.
grow roots and to have a better understanding of our shared humanity, that we're not unique to the struggles that we have. There's somebody somewhere else who's also having that struggle. And it's
Mhm.
just a matter of choice. What are you going to do about it? You're facing
Yeah,
it now. Good things happen or bad things happen to good people, vice versa.
yeah,
And I think too, what you're talking about that I really love is this concept of, we're all unique. There's only one you in the universe.
yeah. That's it.
And also the idea that, the problem sometimes in the world is pride. Pride, we often think is you puffing yourself up above other
Mhm.
people, but it's also putting yourself below other people,
It
not
can be. Yeah.
seeing your value, not seeing that what you do matters. And I love how you put everything that you experience, it's for your good if you choose to let it be.
Yeah, yeah. You frame it that way. It really is just that's I think that the idea that perception is reality. They say it in marketing, but perception for yourself is the reality you live, because the reality you live in tells you certain things feedback wise that then triggers you to respond in a certain way. And so if the reality I've created is, hey, this world's horrible, it's out to get me, nobody's safe, right? Then I'm going to live my life in that way. And I believe the world's a mirror to you. So all
Mm,
these things happening, they feed you, and you have this perspective that creates an emotion, that creates an action you take, and the action you take does something, and the world responds to that action, and it either solidifies, it does, it solidifies anything that comes out of it. So it solidifies that life is good and the world's great because you see it that way, or it solidifies the world's evil. Because if I have this thought that the world's out to get me, well, I'm going to go into the world. I'm going to be mean and angry, and then guess what? People are going to meet me at that space. But if I go, hey, that just was a crazy person yesterday, I'm going to laugh it off. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to smile at the neighbor. The world's a nice place. And guess what? You get more positive. So a lot of it's just all the perception on the situation you're experiencing.
yeah. So mindset is everything and the energy you bring into a situation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I even go deeper and say it's the identity. It's a mindset's an interesting thing because I've noticed that a lot of the people who I've studied that are high performers, the language they don't always use this language of my mindset. Or I wasn't, I had to forge my mindset. Now they do, I think, because it's been put into people's heads. You look at the old school athletes, the ones who are, the goats. A lot of it's just like, no, that's just what I did. It's just that I wasn't going to negotiate with myself. It's who I am. And when I
Mm.
started looking at a lot of that stuff, I go, what does that mean when they're saying this? And I had to get to a depth. And it's like, for them, their identity was rooted in, I'm the kind of person that does this. That's just how I'm going to show up as me. It wasn't, I got to make sure my mindset's telling me to get up, and which is how they just saw themselves. So what I look at is, yeah, mindset's a way to describe what we're seeing. But truthfully, it's just a piece of the bigger picture of who they are as a human. Their beliefs, their thoughts, their actions, their habits, their optimism, their pessimism, their whatever it may be, and their perspectives for sure. And that frames the way somebody sees the world and also how they show up in it. So, like, mindset's a big piece from description of what I'm seeing, but what I am actually seeing is Anthony. I go, that's that person's identity that's been wired through different situations, a ton of different experiences, but you are seeing who they are. Because when I'm in the heat of the moment, I'm not going to myself going, all right, this person just cut me off in traffic. What's my mindset saying about this?
Yeah.
Like, I do something, and that thing that I do in that heightened situation shows you who I am at an identity level.
And your shift method is what brings people into this in a real broken down way to see it. And the three steps are see, shift, and sustain. Could
Yeah.
you speak about that a little bit with what you just shared?
Yeah. So if you think about it, the I talk about identity, people go, "Oh, that's interesting. It's just a thing," and I go, "No, it's a thing that was created. Most people was created without you being aware of it. It just happened. Life and things experientially happening, and so you wake up one day, and this gives you a chance to unpack what happened to get you to where you're at, and it gives you a working model to adjust that and to make what I call small shifts. I mean, you don't have to make massive changes. If you make small shifts, you can change life over time. And so the three stages you're going through are essentially, this is kind of the way to adapt it, is to see what's going on, see who you are. It's not always easy to see who you are, but if you can truly actually have self-awareness and go, oh, that's how I'm operating in my marriage. Oh, that's how I'm operating as a parent, right? You can see it. It gives you permission to improve. Doesn't mean anything changes, just means you now know what to work on. Then you make shifts, small shifts, habit changes, action changes. You actually have to think through responses. We do a lot of work rewiring through seeing how you're currently wired and going, okay, great. If this is how I'm wired now, how do I want to be wired? Okay, great. What does that entail to create that in time through like step by step consistency? I now call it dark work. It's the work you do in the dark that allows you to shine in the light, but it's that stuff that it's the gritty, enduring, long, arduous, painful, criticized, misunderstood work you do. But then what happens over time, you eventually pop up one day and you are not the same person you were a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And then the last part, the sustained part, it's more so saying as life continues on, as it should and will, hopefully, you're going to be faced with situations that are similar to ones you faced before, but you're not the same person anymore. And you have to make sure that in those heightened moments, you don't revert back to who you were before your shift. So it's going, hey, I'm being faced with the same thing, but I'm not going to freak out like I did before. I'm not going to shut down. I'm not going to cause blame or press to the issue to somebody else. I got this. And you step up differently, you face it differently, and lo and behold, you get different success.
Where did this come from in your life? Did you have a moment where you decided, hey, I want to be this person now? When did you
Yeah,
start wanting that?
that was when I got divorced. I think a lot of life, we have the same things take place, but we're not presently aware of what they are at a conscious level. It's just happening. And so I'd navigate this a couple times, like at 15 years old. I did it again in college, the pros. I did this, and I call it a dark work experience. It's just a thing
Mm.
I kind of endured and went through. We all go through these experiences, the crucibles, the ones where it's like you do think back to it right now and your stomach twists up, like those kind of moments. And for me, the one that I look at that goes, hey, I intentionally pursued this differently was one where I was, divorced. And I just had this moment of, I don't like me. And I had to be really honest about how I got here. And I wasn't a good, husband. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good business owner. And I really had to stop and go, yeah, that's on me. Cause either I caused it or I'm letting it happen. I'm letting it endure in my life. So I realized I'm the common denominator. And that forced me to have to see myself differently. Like, what's going on? Why am I here? How can I get out of here? And then it forced me to have to do things that were uncomfortable to get out of that place. And I'm dead serious, like really non-Anthony, non-identity traits that were like actions and habits and characteristics that made my stomach turn. But you do them because you realize that that's what the person who has what you want, that's what they do. So I did over time and eventually became that person who was doing those things. I wasn't trying to do those things. I was now that guy. And that guy has built a life in a whole different way for the last 9 years now because he made that adjustment. He made those shifts.
Do you think love was the motivator behind that? You talk about how your mother's love changed you as she was
Mhm.
able to love you unconditionally, and you got to experience that early for the first time.
No, I wouldn't say later in life. There's a piece where I had a commitment to try to not be the son that squandered it all. Like when I was growing up, she was a big piece of me feeling like I mattered. Like, I wasn't a statistic. She helped me like avoid a lot of crazy. When I got older and I was kind of going through life, for sure, there was a moment in time where I was like, man, I am not living up to the standard my mom set for me as a man. Like we
Mm.
weren't rich. We didn't have money. It wasn't like a standard of like professionalism. It's a standard of like how I would show up and just live from the things that were gifted to me, the blessings I had. I wasn't doing that at the time. And so I wouldn't say that it was like a dig in to build for love, but it was more of a dig in to build for me. Because I think the hardest thing for any of us to do is to look in the mirror and not like that person.
Yeah.
That's a hard place to be. I've been there. It's a tough place. And the only way that you can stop feeling bad when you look at that person is to be proud of that person. The only way I found to be proud of a person is to see them for the work they've done. What
Mm.
not so much what they've achieved, but what they've done, like the effort they gave. And so like when people give hard effort towards something, they find themselves in a place going, man, I'm proud of me. I love me. Well done, me. That's and so for me, I look at it and go, I needed to find a way to get back to that guy doing hard stuff because I was taking the easy route. I was hanging out with the wrong people, drinking, partying, doing dumb stuff. And so when my mom passed away in 2015, sorry, 2014, it was a chance for me to wake up and go, I got to do some things differently. And it was more so me doing the hard work again. And the driver was me wanting to look at myself in the mirror and love me again.
And now you're that example to your family. How has that affected your kids and what they're achieving in your relationship now?
I don't think that they notice it yet, to be honest. I don't think they get it. They really don't. There's, it's like you don't know how sweet something is till you taste sour, and they haven't been there yet. So I have to create and concoct difficulty in their life because they have privilege. And I'm not, we're not filthy rich by any means, but the kids don't want for anything. In fact, the last 3 or 4 years, we've told the family, like, don't get these kids presents. There's nothing that they need. Like anything that they really want, cleats and shirts and clothes, they ask for it. And we find a way to make them, earn it or get it in some way. And it's not like crazy hard, like clean your room, So for them, they don't get it. But the oldest, he has had the best opportunity to feel it because he's in college. He's graduating next year from college. And I think the first year he was like, Dad, it's interesting that, I'm looking at the rest of the kids I'm around and it's like crazy. Like none of their parents like each other, but I got 2 parents that love each other. He's like, none of these kids, like they don't like talk to their parents. He's like, I almost feel weird because I have I talk to you a lot. And it's like this interesting thing where he's noticing that the world is not the normalcy of our household. And so he does, I think, get it, but the twins for sure don't. But I don't think he's really going to get it until he gets into a relationship and he sees how hard that is. Or he gets into the real world with a career to see how hard it is, has his own kids and sees what that's like. I think at that point, they're going to be like, holy crap, Dad, how'd you do that? But that's for a different time. And I'm not waiting for that. I don't need to feel like, I know that at some point in time, they'll realize the things that I've done and the way I've showed up as a father was in their benefit.
And you kind of have a family identity, right? You have some core words and things of we
Oh,
are
yeah.
the trucks. So
Yeah, we have this motto in our gym. It's like 9 foot by like 4 foot. It's a big, humongous sticker in the gym wall. And it says, Truxes don't just show up, Truxes show out.
yeah.
And so it's like, even the small, it's not just in front of the stage. Like Truxes, we don't just show up to the weight room when no one's watching. We show out in the weight room by ourselves. You don't just show up in the classroom, you show out. You get good grades. Like you don't just show up to anything and just be there. Like be there if you're going to be there. And that's a family motto. So my son, he's, running track. He just finished the regionals, didn't make it to nationals for the 110 hurdles for track and NCAA. My daughter is the only freshman in Northern California to make it to the state meet this last weekend. Only girl in her high school to make it to the state meet as a freshman for varsity. So we're talking freshman through senior. And so like she's doing well. And I don't praise the accomplishment. Like if you were to notice, like the messages I send to my kids, none of them are like, well done on getting that accolade. It's always well done on doing the work, well done on showing up. Because when you do that, the rest of it all takes place. And so I want them to understand that the anchor that makes that possible is the work that they do and how they show up.
I really think that's a way to stand out today. I know I struggle a little bit with some of my kids. Social media, all that, you try to limit it, but they still see the accolades. They see the award. They don't see all the work behind it. So the stark work that you talk about is so important for our youth to understand. I think some of us before technology get it a little bit more, but they really don't understand how many years went behind something or months went behind something, or even the team that someone may have behind them. But they can also create that team. They can do that work. And so I love how you say reward them for the work.
Yeah, it's a big piece of it. If I don't do that, then they're going to think that they're nothing without the accolade, or they're going to think that it's not worth being praised until they get that, or that's the only way to get praise, like to feel good about yourself is, when I got that final thing. And then now they don't enjoy the journey, which really the people that you find that have the best outcomes are the ones that love the journey. It's the guys and the girls who love to work, who love the toil away. Like I have a weird enjoyment when it's like I get to whoop my butt in the gym or it's hot outside and like it's uncomfortable. I don't know how. I think my coaches made us like, they made us crazy people for like, it's like the Manchurian candidate kind of stuff. Because the moment that it gets to like gritty difficulty, I'm like, yeah, because I don't like what I'm about to experience, but my brain starts to kick into the feeling I'm going to have when I'm done. When the
Yeah.
last rep is completed and I get to look at myself and go, I got that done, right? And that's the thing, that when you have that and you enjoy that piece, the rest of it takes care of itself. You're going to show up to the moment of competition, the defining moment, way differently. And you're going to feel vastly more confident, more outspoken. You ooze this sense of I got this, and then you get it. It's not an accident. That's why I've noticed there are almost no champions that I've ever seen win something and go, oh my gosh, I never in a million years expected this. It's like, no, I expected this. I worked my butt off for this. You kidding me? Like, this was an expectation for me.
Yeah. And then, like you, sometimes they have to shift, like you had the injury. And
Yeah.
so they get an accomplishment. What do you do when it's time to find a new accomplishment? I know some people struggle with identity and any kind of shift in that, like life.
Yeah.
Life throws you divorce, life throws you an injury, life throws you a sickness.
Yeah. You set your own scale. You got to pull back and look at what you want. I think honestly, we know the world's full of different things you can have. No one's happy. There's billionaires who want more money, so you're not going to hit this pinnacle and all of a sudden, like, everything goes amazing. In fact, I think Will Smith recently saw him say, he goes, there's a certain point in time in which you get money that makes you unhappy. He's like, it's not even that money makes you happy. He's like, there's a certain level of money that will make you unhappy because you'll see all these things can't make you feel good. So you're getting more of something that doesn't make you feel good. So I go, at the end of the day, when I look at life and I look at the things I'm looking towards, like, I set my own scale of what makes Anthony happy. So what
Yeah.
makes me happy is my family, a bit of time here. Like, I don't want to go on the road. We're taking a family trip here in a couple of weeks, and I've had to turn down $40,000+ in speeches to make this family trip happen. Right? I'm just like, not going to do it. And while you're like, oh, he's missing out on money, I would be missing out on something more valuable,
Mhm.
memories and time and things I can't get back. And the dollars will come. Like, it's just, for me, I have to live in that space. And so my scale is that. It's not the scale that most would go, I got to get every dollar, be on every stage, be the person. It's like, cool, yeah, like, you could do all that. But then at the end of the day, when you get off that stage and go back to your hotel room, it's you.
Yeah.
Or you go back to your home, it's just you. And if you don't have people that you can celebrate with and experience things with, then what's the point of it all, man? Like, it
Yeah.
is very empty. I vapid. I've seen it. I felt it. Like, it's not fun when you're celebrating by yourself.
Audrey McDonald is now the most awarded or nominated Tony woman with all these awards or whatever. And she was in an interview recently and she was speaking just about this. Or like, so how do you feel about the Tony? And she's like, well, I don't have any control over another Tony or creating this new level.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, when I go home, it's still me with me.
Oh,
So
yeah. Well, they
no
love.
Tony is going to fix if I'm not good with me. So I got
Mhm.
to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. And if it happens, it happens. And
Yeah.
I think that can really help us a lot in life if we just give ourselves more credit for the work and
Yeah.
we focus on, am I showing up in the way that I want to show up?
Yeah. And doing the work. Like, the reason she's good with her is because she goes home, looks in a mirror, and goes, I know how hard you work. Well done, you.
Yeah.
I know what you pushed through. Well done, you. And I'm not saying like the empty stuff. Like, your brain has that cognitive dissonance. It knows if you're lying to yourself.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
could be like, I worked real hard trying to convince yourself. Your brain knows. But when you know that you did more than you wanted to do in moments that everybody else would quit and you kept pushing, there's a deeper sense of pride and gratitude. So yeah, like, you love you. Like, I used to not like me. I used to hate being alone because I didn't like who I was alone with.
Mhm.
And now, like, you could put me on an island. I'm gonna be chilling for a good chunk of time. I'm gonna eventually miss my family, and I'll be like, all right, get me off here. But you give me like a few days by myself, I am fine because I love me. And I love thinking and talking and creating and develop. There's a sense of who I am because I got to know him again and I earned his respect. That takes time.
How do you say you created the life that you wanted and you're now sharing that with Speak to Freedom? What is the drive there?
Well, the thing with Speak to Freedom is it wasn't that I was trying to create like my own life of anything special for other people. So Speak to Freedom was developed accidentally. So Dark Work's my brand. It's around identity shift. That's what the book is in that same vein. And I built a cool business. I've had fun speaking on amazing stages, still do. And I coach people at high levels and I have these cool programs and coach people. And people go, hey, how'd you build that business? And I go, oh, well, here's why I did this. And I go, you do that too, right? Nope. I go, interesting. So people go, can you teach me how that whole thing works? I go, yeah. So I codified everything I've done to build my business of speaking, coaching, consulting, writing, everything into a system that is speaking first, Meaning there's a lot of ways to build companies and everything. And yes, you can do it by just running ads and doing online programs and communities. But there's nothing like speaking to build notoriety, to build authority, and to build a base of people that trust you because you speak to them for an hour, And so I really pulled back the curtain and developed a process that makes it very clear how to go from nothing and to take your life and become someone that has a clear, concise message that's valuable that can be put on a stage and get paid to do it. And then from there, blossom beyond the stage into coaching, consulting, books, all that kind of fun stuff. So that was just built out of genuine just desire from other people. And then I started making it bigger. And now it's really big, 600 clients big, and it's fun. It's a blast. I love doing it. And it's one of those things I never thought I would do, but I found that that's what I'm supposed to do. Like I still do my thing and I love doing it, but I love thinking about it. I love talking about it. I love, being able to go back and forth with clients for them building their own businesses now.
What's meant for you will find you if you show up as you need to.
Do you listen to the universe? I call it God. Just listen. And if you pay attention enough, there's a voice that'll be loud enough for you to hear what you're supposed to do.
Well, I have a question because I've moved to Utah and I saw that there is a huge call here for families to take on foster kids, but I think some people are reluctant to do so. If you could speak to parents who might have the ability to bring a child into their home and love them and maybe give them the opportunities that you were given, what would you say?
My wife and I are actually doing this right now. My wife is spearheading this idea. I'm still on the fence, not on the fence, just I'm tepid in the progression of it, but we're doing all the classes for foster care and everything because she has a heart to do that. And here's what I would say to them, because I'm in the same boat. I'm not the guy that's going to go get a foster kid. We need them. It can't be something that you do because the world needs it. You have to want to do it. There are really bad foster parents. There are really good foster parents. I think the difference is those who are trying to be parents. The kids give you money. So some people see the kids as paychecks, like it's a job. So they look at it being they have a job. I look at it as I'm going to be a parent to this kid. I'm going to change their life for the good or for the bad. And so if you're looking at, a foster kid, it's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be reward. I was a challenge. I was a big challenge as a kid, but I'm not rewarded my family and my kid and my mom and my dad. Like it's something where the time and energy they spent, they get to look at me do what I do and podcasts and stages and television shows and weird stuff, but imagine if they didn't love me. Imagine if I had no home. And so for me, I tell people yes, it's a challenge. But again, the harder the thing you do, the more pride you have. And there's nothing like helping an actual human life.
And there's nothing like being a parent. It definitely grows and shapes you in ways you never have before. I think it's very serendipitous. Today, 22 years ago, is when I first became a parent. So the fact that this interview landed on that, I think, is pretty darn special today.
There you go. Yeah, it's different. There's a set of experiences and emotions you will never, ever touch until you're a parent. And I can't imagine. I was talking to my wife the other day. I go, I don't know how people will leave this life never having had kids, because there's a whole base of emotions that you will never get to touch or experience because you didn't have any kind of offspring. It's weird to me personally.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely my little hearts running around a piece of that I really want. And your story also inspires me because I have my son whose father is not in his life. And so being the one parent, when I hear your mother was the one who was able to love you unconditionally, it really helps me show up for him and know that I'm doing enough, because one parent who's loving, who's kind, who shows up can transform a child's life. Just like we as individuals, one person can make a huge difference. There could be somebody out there waiting for you, waiting for your speech on the stage, waiting for your podcast. It's those things we want to develop in our children so that they are able to step into their full potential.
Yeah, true.
Well, if people want to become a part of Speak to Freedom, or if they'd like to have you come speak on their stage, where can they find you?
You can go to speaktofreedom.com. You can go to anthonytrucks.com. Or you can go to darkwork.com. Those are all three of the main, those are our main hubs. I've realized that there's like 3 separate companies, but they're not. It's nuts. Anyways, welcome to my world. But no, Anthony Trucks is the base of it all. Speak to Freedom's a offshoot of me, as well as Dark Work being an offshoot of me.
Wonderful. All right, audience, thank you for being here. I hope you found value in this and take into consideration the power of being a parent and what it can do for a child's life. Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.